Good morning, everyone. Yes, Wilson here. This is Stirling Talks. I am very excited to have a little preview of the next big show. It's a really big show coming up to Maiden Stirling, the gallery in there. I'm not quite sure whether to call him John or the Earl of Grey or something. I was reading he's self-appointed that title. Hello, sir.
Hello there. How's it going?
It's good. You've got the next show coming up to Maiden Stirling. Gets going June the 5th and all that kind of good stuff. We're going to talk about that here in just a little bit. We'll have all that linked up on our social medias for you as well as you can check it out on Maiden Stirling. Man, I got to tell you, one of the first times I went into the Maiden Stirling shop about a year and a half ago, I'm walking around and there's all this great stuff and all these local things, and I'm just getting to know the Stirling area. And then I see this Napoleon Dynamite over there.
What are you gonna do today, Napoleon?
Whatever I feel like I want to do. God!
And I'm like, what in the world is somebody doing a Napoleon Dynamite? That was you.
That was me, yes, I'm afraid so. I'm not guilty of doing anything contemporary or on trend, but nostalgia, anything from at least 20 years back is kind of my territory.
I was pleasantly surprised to see the Vote for Pedro on there, and gosh, and Tater Tots and all that stuff, one of my favorite movies of all time. So along those lines, if people aren't familiar with your work, give me a little bit here. What are they going to see at your show? I'm seeing a lot of Godzilla.
Yeah, well, I guess my work, I'm better known for doing greeting cards, which I sell quite a lot of in Maiden Stirling, but this is a slightly different beast. It's an illustrated collection of works based on films that I appreciated over the many years of knocking about. Starting from way back with Godzilla, 1954, I think, was that released? Through to slightly more contemporary stuff. I've done some illustrations based on a recent television show, Small Profits, which is on BBC iPlayer at the moment. Very good. All things popular culture, movies, television that I've been interested in over the years.
It is a very wide spectrum. The movies I mentioned that I had the Napoleon Dynamite, but the Godzilla there too. I saw the Royal Tenenbaums and all that kind of stuff. You've got a very eclectic kind of taste.
Thanks. Yeah, I think so. The exhibition is called Teenage Flicks, and I guess the idea came from, well, probably the first film that I saw that had an impact was Alien, back when I imagine, definitely too young to watch it, but it was profoundly disturbing, but I loved it. And so I've tried to pick films that resonate in a similar way, whether it's horror or tickling my funny bone. It's pretty eclectic, but...
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was reading on your website that you saw Alien a bit too young. I think many of us have movies, that one movie that we saw, and you realize, maybe I shouldn't be watching this. Mine was one of the Friday the 13th, and I was staying over with a friend. I was maybe 10, and his sister took us to the movie theater. It wasn't even on TV. For Friday the 13th. And it still has, my wife will tell you, I'm not a big fan of scary movies because that scared anyway. But Alien was quite an interesting one to kind of get into, a bit of science fiction and all that. But all the other ones too, you do have quite a sense of humor with these.
Oh, well, thank you. Humor definitely plays a part in my illustration work for sure. But I think there's definitely a thread of humor that runs through the films that I've appreciated as well. Maybe not Alien, but everything else. Yeah, there's a good dollop of that.
So when people walk into your show, and I know final days here, again, June 5th is going to be a big kickoff, I believe 6 o'clock at Maiden Stirling. First of all, how great is the Maiden Stirling shop? I know you've sold a lot of stuff in there. It is such a great place for local artists.
Yeah, I love it. I've been in there for quite a long time now, selling my work, but I'm a big fan of the work that they do behind the scenes as well, the community engagement stuff, work in schools, and they're great champions of local creative talent as well. So yeah, shout out to the team there.
And a lot of people seen your greeting cards in there and other places around and all that stuff. I've always been curious with greeting cards because it's a bit obviously creative, but you've got to have an idea for something. I'm always curious, the greeting cards that don't work.
I mean...
Because you've got to write a bit in there. Like, you can't just put happy birthday. It's got to,
It takes some learning, but I think that's what I've enjoyed about this exhibition is stepping away from the formula of greeting cards and just enjoying drawing again. So yeah, I've definitely been very appreciative of this creative time.
And the joy of drawing also read in your site to confidence as well. You did a bit a while back about confidence. How much does confidence and play into this next show you're doing? Because it is a little bit different than what you've been doing recently.
Yeah, confidence, crikey, that's an interesting subject.
And now we're getting deep, ladies and gentlemen. But it is important for what you do.
It is, yeah. I think my DIY approach to making stuff, I mean, I've worked in many different creative spheres, and I mean, there's always a bit of brick in it, for sure, and lack of confidence, but I've always had a bit of an ability to dive in anyway and make stuff happen, that DIY approach, I think. And I guess with each project you gain a little bit more. I don't think I had a great deal coming out of art school. I think that's common with a lot of creative folk, and maybe illustrators in particular. But yeah, it's building for sure.
Well, so I did read that, and you got a great blog, by the way. So make sure we're going to plug your website here before you get out of here. With that being said, you mentioned art school. Before art school, though, and you know we do shockingly have some young people that do tune in. I like asking people, before you decided at school and all that stuff, when did the light bulb go off for you that art, that drawing, that what you're doing, like, I'm pretty good at it. This might actually be a thing for me. I want to keep doing this. Do you remember a moment or something, or did someone encourage you with that, where you went, oh, I've got something here?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I grew up in a very creative household. My dad was always beavering away on little side projects and personal projects, and he used to make... I've put this in the exhibition art book as well, but he used to make puppets and do shows for us. Yeah. So I think, yeah, the idea of going to art school didn't seem like I don't know, it wasn't out of the ordinary, you know. So it was always present, I think, and yeah, I'd get compliments about my work, and undoubtedly that helped shape my trajectory. Also, I'm terrible at maths, so you know, brother. There was only so many routes I could take.
That's why I got into the radio business in high school. Got my first job. I was like, I can backtime a song. That's about it. That's about it. So for a young person that might be listening to this and hearing you, and you had that creative kind of spark in your household and all that kind of stuff, if someone's interested in maybe getting into the arts, writing, you know, art or drawing or whatever, doing greeting cards, what would you say to that 16, 17, 15-year-old that might be listening?
Yeah, I mean, in the words of Nike, not that they should be the ones that you should look to for motivational quotes, but just do it, you know. And I don't necessarily think you need to go to art school at all. I think the vast majority of the learning that I've made has been subsequent to that, and from just figuring things out, you know, on the shop floor of life. And yeah, just make stuff, and also just keep, you know, cranking out work that gives you a smile. Like, don't lose track of that. It's quite easy once you start to try and make a living out of it to fall into that trap and forget about the joyous stuff. And I think that's definitely what this exhibition, Teenage Flicks, has allowed me to do, is to return to that joyous making work.
Another thing, and we had a group in a couple of weeks back of young people. Come June 5th, come to be in the room with other creative people. Get in the building with people that you want to be around, other creative people, and good things will happen right there. So June the 5th, we've got this big opening coming up. You mentioned, again, Teenage Flicks. You talked about Alien. What was your first date movie? Like your first teenage movie you remember kind of going out to and saying, oh, what was your first date movie?
You mean going to the cinemas not with a person? Are you talking about a romantic?
Like with a person, like you're with a person going to a film.
Well, I remember making a terrible mistake of suggesting something about Mary.
Oh, no!
And that was with my girlfriend at the time's parents.
Oh!
Yeah.
That one scene.
Aha, that was enough.
2 words, hair gel. No. Wow. That's epic, man.
So, yeah, nothing to shout about, but yeah, that happened. And hence it was a very short, you know, foray into my first relationship. But, you know.
And it made me think, mine was Lost Boys.
Oh, wow.
Which was so cool, man. And I didn't know at the time, but yeah, no, every time that movie's on, man, I watch it. And I bet every time something about Mary comes on, you don't.
I have to go to bed very early and turn the lights off and shake. very slowly in the corner.
Okay, so this show, June the 5th, the big opening there, made in Stirling. It is open to the public, so please come by and check it out. What are people going to see at this? We mentioned Godzilla, Alien. What else are you going to see?
Yeah, I mean, other films that I've touched on, Back to the Future, Royal Tenenbaums is a big favourite of mine. There's French-speaking delicatessen, all about cannibalism. Fun stuff. What else have I done? Batman, the original stuff. Heaps of stuff. There's going to be illustrated prints, some 3D works, which is new for me, and lots of original drawings as well.
So this is coming up, like we said, June the 5th. I can tell that you're in it. That you're in it, man. It's the kind of the last days here. You're putting this together. What's it like putting together? Because this is a big show. This is a big room. What's it been like so far, the experience of putting together a show like this?
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. I guess when I started out, I was just imagining, a few pictures on the walls, and inevitably it's grown. And it's cool. I've been dabbling in 3D stuff, and but inevitably there's a lot to do. So still got plenty to tie up in the next few weeks, but it's coming together. It's coming together.
I know the main Stirling crew. They're Stirling is creative. They're the creative Stirling. They're excited to have you in there. I saw that Alistair was just painting the walls the other day, so that's quite nice. So this is coming up here. If people want to find out more about you and your work, and like I said, I obviously perused your blog a good bit. What's your website?
So the Grey Earl is my alias, so thegrayearl.com. You can check out all my work. I guess for direct info about the exhibition, you want to go to maidenstirlingstore.com and check out their upcoming events, and mine should be slap bang at the top.
And I'm going to ask you this because I feel like we mentioned this very briefly at the start, and don't want to leave you hanging there. The Grey Earl. What's all that about?
Well, interestingly, it probably follows on from the confidence thing. When I was traveling around the world at the time, very lucky to do so, but I decided I was wanting to get back home and start making creative work, but I was tentative, didn't have a great deal of confidence in my practice, so I thought maybe I'll come up with a little alias, and that will aid my transition into that world, and I can put work out and not feel quite as vulnerable about it. Right. So the Grey Earl came about from drinking copious amounts of tea, and I like the idea of just appointing myself some sort of royal moniker.
There's something to be said, said the fellow that just goes by one name on the radio, and my real name in real life. Having a bit of a character gives you, because what you do is, you're walking out in that branch, and every once in a while somebody's going to shake it. But if you've got a bit of I'm the Grey Earl, you can't do that to me. That confidence thing again comes back.
It does, yeah. And I think there's like on Instagram or social media, there's a sort of a persona. I mean, it's me, but there's a certain confidence that I can kind of deliver. I think because of that, that mask or the hat that I put on, to deliver it. So yeah, I'd say any young upcoming creatives, give yourself a silly name. Why not?
No, it was a bit funny when you walked in today. He had the big Bono glasses on and big silver boots, and I was like, oh, that wasn't what I was expecting, but quite the character here. Now, I will say the Elton John boa went, no. He's got flannel on. Could be in Pearl Jam. So actually your first movie, I haven't asked this question, but it is one of the favorites. You are a radio station here, Stirling Community Radio. What was your first concert?
Oh my word, first concert. Do you know what? I shouldn't say this.
Do it.
It was Cliff Richard.
Oh no! I almost dropped the microphone.
I'm afraid so. Can I think of anything more credible?
Was this with the family?
Yeah,
or,
do you know what?
That doesn't really count.
It doesn't count. No. Okay, so
you must have been young.
Concert, what was my first concert?
The first concert you went to, not with the family. Not that you didn't get drugged to it. You said, "Oh, I want to go to that," and you went.
I don't know if it gets any better. I'm not going to get any credible points here. I was a big fan when I was young of Phil Collins.
No, that's great.
It's better. It's clearly better than the
No, you know what? I played Easy Lover last week.
Oh.
Which is that opening riff there with Phil Bailey from Earth, Wind and Fire. It doesn't get any better than that.
I mean, I was a big fan. And so, yeah, Genesis.
Okay.
I went to see Genesis with my dad, but it was like one of the post-Phil Collins Genesis, so I didn't really know what to expect. Right. It was good, But, my musical tastes have developed.
Abacab is my ringtone for it.
Abacab. Beautiful stuff.
You know what? We'll play a little bit here coming up in just a bit. One more time before we get you got me with the Cliff Richard, man. I was like,
I got myself.
We'll not be playing Cliff Richard here just a little bit. We
Don't
will be
spin it.
playing some Phil Collins Genesis. One more time, the big opening. We would love to have everybody come out to the Maiden Stirling shop. When is that?
Friday, the 5th of June, 6 till 9 p.m. Come on down. Be lovely to see you.
Yeah, those are always fun nights right here. Big thanks again to our friends at Creative Stirling and the Maiden Stirling shop. Thank you, sir. This has been fun.
It has. Thank you for having me.
I've got to go get Cliff Richard out of my head now. I don't want to give you grief, man. I know. The look on his
it's all
face.
good. I can only apologise to Stirling, Scotland, anyone listening. It was a long time ago. Forgive me.
Have we got Living Doll with the young ones in the catalogue? I think... No, we're not going to do it. This is Stirling Community Radio, Stirling Talks. My name's Wilson. We'll be back.